Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Offhand. Today we have some NFL trade talk for you. Just a little bit of trade talk, though. Just a little bit of trade talk. We're gonna be covering the Carson Wentz trades, if there is a trade. Hey guys, Andy here. So we filmed this video Wednesday night, and the Wentz trade with the Colts went through on Thursday, and we couldn't reshoot. So just bad luck for us. But the Colts gave up a 2021 third round pick and a conditional 2022 second round pick. We mentioned the effects of this exact trade happening in the video, as well as Wentz possibly going to the Bears for Nick Foles and what that package would have looked like. So I hope you still enjoy the video. As well as Matthew Stafford and Goff trade. We have two specialists with us today, Chayev and Steven, and I am Andy, the host, I guess, technically, for this. So I'm actually going to throw it immediately to Steven to talk to us about the Carson Wentz trade that is going to happen soon, I feel like.
Okay, so Carson Wentz, great quarterback in 2017, 2018, got his team to the playoffs. Nick Foles got him to the Super Bowl. And then 3 years later, fast forward, he's not doing so hot. His numbers this season: yards only 2,620, touchdowns only 16, and interceptions 15. So he basically threw the same amount of interceptions that he did touchdowns. So really and truly, that's terrible, obviously.
So since he had such a terrible season, why should teams be going after him?
Because with a good offensive line, as you saw in 2017 to 2018, that Super Bowl season, he had a good offensive line. His numbers were tremendous. He threw 33 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions,
Wow.
and 3,296 yards in that season.
So then what are the teams going after him exactly?
Right now, they're the Bears and the Colts. The Bears would have to give up a first and star power for Carson Wentz, which would be a terrible decision just because Carson Wentz, without an offensive line, as you saw this season, did terrible. Chicago, I mean, Chicago's just always consistently in a rebuild. So I wouldn't consider them an actual, good landing spot for Carson Wentz. And the Colts, I would consider them a good landing spot for Carson Wentz just because they have a good offensive line, some young receivers, for the exception of T.Y. Hilton, and like you said, just a better team overall.
Yeah, I think the Colts definitely are a better team overall. And what you're saying about O linemen, this past season, the Eagles gave up 65 sacks. They were leading the league with the most sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely to what you said about the picks. The Colts gave up only 21 sacks last season. That means they gave up the second least amount behind Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So definitely one of the best offensive line, probably one of the best situations he could go to. The Bears were average, ranked 16th, with giving up 36 sacks. So both definitely better situations in terms of O-line. Colts would be the best if they were able to protect Phillip Rivers. I'm pretty sure they can protect Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, plus he can at least move a little bit more than Phillip can.
Exactly. That mobility would definitely be good. However, that mobility has also caused some injuries. Do you think that these teams, the Colts and the Bears, should be worried about injuries?
I think the Bears more worried than the Colts just because, like I said, they have a terrible offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if they can protect Phillip Rivers, I'm pretty sure he's had his fair share of injuries in the past. I'm pretty sure injuries aren't really the number one concern for Carson Wentz over in Indianapolis. And that's if they trade for him.
Well, let me actually bring this up because I was doing some research and I was curious just to see what the packages were for Carson Wentz with the Colts and the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And what it seems like, or what people are hearing, is that the Colts are looking to trade probably a second round, and it seems like the Eagles want more and possibly like a third round pick also thrown in there. And then the Bears, it seems like the Bears are going to trade or would trade their 2021 first round pick, which would be the 20th pick, their 2022 third round pick, and Nick Foles.
Yeah.
How would you feel about Nick Foles and Carson Wentz basically getting traded for each other?
So the winner, like literally, the Eagles and Carson Wentz are winners on their own foot. So Carson Wentz is a winner in this trade if he goes to the Colts, and the Eagles are winners if they get to trade him to the Bears because one, they're not just trading him, they're also getting rid of his contract because he's not an unrestricted free agent until 2025.
Yeah, that's a good point to
So
make. Chad, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it because you made a little bit of a face there. What do you think Nick Foles and Carson Wentz being switched around would like? How do you think that would affect both teams?
For me, I think it would affect, like, honest to God, like he's been right. The offensive line for the Bears has been god awful, but like for them to trade Nick Foles back to Philly, I would assume I thought they would give up more like a defensive player or something because
mhm.
their defense has been pretty good. So I would assume that the Eagles would want part of that, but if that's what it's been looking like, that it's like two picks and Nick Foles back. It's really funny that he would end like they would get switched back to, or not get switched back, but Nick Foles coming back to the Eagles through a weird trade.
There was some talk that Tariq Cohen would be thrown in there, but Tariq Cohen has come out and said that he's talked to the GM and the head coach, saying that he is not being traded.
I
However,
mean,
we
yeah,
know
but
that owners and GMs and
yeah, do
coaches
their
do
own
not,
thing.
yeah, they're not always the most honest of people when they're talking to players.
Yeah,
So he could still be involved with trade, but everything I've seen pretty much revolves around a couple picks and Nick Foles. Nick Foles does seem to be a part of the package that the Bears would give up, and I think the Eagles. I think it's a win-win for both teams. I think Carson Wentz getting a change of scenery, going to a better team is good for him.
yeah.
I think that locker room will rally again around Nick Foles. So I think he'll be good over there. Will they be a better team? That I don't know, but I think in the locker room at least it would be better. I think that's how that would play out.
I mean, they have the sixth pick in the draft, so there's really no way you could discount, the quarterback that they can get.
And with the sixth pick in the draft, there have been some people that have said that they should maybe after they trade Wentz to wherever, right, and they get picks back, that they should maybe look to draft a quarterback this year, since it's such a stacked class and they have a high pick.
Mhm.
They could get someone probably like Zach Wilson because I think that Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence will probably be the first two quarterbacks to go off the board. So Zach Wilson will most likely be the third quarterback to go off the board. So and he had an amazing season this past season in college. He threw 3,692 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. Big improvement from his 2019 season. I'm not going to read through it, but he is a great quarterback coming out. So what do you guys think? You think they should go maybe for someone like Zach Wilson? You think they should maybe stick to Jalen Hurts?
I
What do you
think they
guys think?
should go for Trey Lance. I mean, he's a mobile quarterback, but he can also throw the ball. So I don't see why they wouldn't go for after him.
That's your. I think
Dang.
I think there's some skepticism with Trey Lance. I'm sorry. I think there's a little bit of skepticism with Trey Lance because I don't think he really played that much this past season. I think he only played like one
Yeah.
game. So I think GMs would have some reserves on him, knowing that he did play great 2 seasons ago,
Mhm.
but they have the results with Zach Wilson, knowing that he will probably produce. They know what he's like. What have you done for me recently? They know what Zach Wilson has done for them recently. Chai, what were you gonna say?
No, it's for me as a person that isn't as big into college football. So you guys are gonna talk about that a lot more. Um, I I I can't see them taking another quarterback in the first round like this year. I understand why they would,
Yeah.
but that'd be really, really awkward for who they literally drafted last draft.
No, I fully agree. That's the thing. I bring it up, but I don't
Yeah.
agree with it.
No, I know.
I'm in the camp of Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts coming out of the draft. I was super excited to see where he would go. I was actually extremely disappointed when he went to Philly because that made no sense in the first place. But it already sounds like I've heard some stories that apparently Jalen Hurts is having private workouts with receivers, private practices with receivers.
So it sounds like he's almost the guy over there in Philly.
Exactly. Like whether the organization thinks he's the guy or not, Jalen Hurts is prepared to be the guy. He's
Yeah.
in the locker room, at least. I think all the other players in there thinks that he's the guy. I'm pretty sure at the end of the season, when all this drama was going on with Carson Wentz, the team followed and rallied behind Jalen Hurts way more. Even though I know Jalen Hurts did not have a great season in his starts. I don't know if either of you two want to talk about that, about how Jalen Hurts played.
So, in my opinion, I think Jalen Hurts did better than Tua, who was really took his place at Alabama. Really and truly, he did. Yeah, Jalen Hurts transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma, I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct.
Yeah.
So this season, it was, as a Dolphin fan, kind of disheartening to see that Jalen Hurts kind of did better in his last 4 games of the season than Tua did practically midway through the season. You know, Jalen Hurts had 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So not amazing, but not terrible either for a
But
rookie.
that was 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, trying to run an offense that Carson Wentz is supposed to be trying to run.
Yeah.
An
So
offense that is more tailored to Carson Wentz.
Mhm.
So Jalen Hurts can do more than Carson Wentz, I think, in reality. Probably a little bit less accurate, but
I mean, he's a rookie.
still, yeah, exactly. He's a rookie. He can still grow. Actually, the percentages aren't even that off now that I'm looking at it. Carson Wentz threw 57%, which I'm pretty sure is one of the worst in the league. And Jalen Hurts threw 52%, which is not good, but the man can definitely improve in a better system that's probably more for him, involves more running and just tailored to him. And now he has practice with other receivers. He's going to get first team reps. He could be really dangerous, I think, and come out swinging for the Eagles early on next season if
Yeah.
they do choose to keep him. That is.
So when Shia brought up Jalen Hurts, I completely had a brain fart and completely forgot that he was even on the team, to be quite frank with you. So Shia was probably correct in this, that they probably should take either another receiver or a defensive guy.
I think they should probably go defense or O line, because
Yeah, they'll
obviously their O
probably
line is in trouble.
yeah they'll probably
Yeah.
go O line because the defense thing was more of like if they were trading with the Bears, but
Yeah.
if it's gonna be a draft, I'd rather them take an O
They
lineman.
could take that guy out of Oregon, Penny Sewell.
Yeah,
Guy
Yeah,
is
he's supposed to be really good.
monstrous.
yeah, and they have 2 decent receivers. They have Jalen Rager, I believe is how you pronounce it, and then they have Alshon Jeffrey. They do have Zach Ertz. However, there's also a lot of talk of Zach Ertz possibly being traded. So
Yeah.
last question for this whole Carson Wentz talk. Do you think Carson Wentz can lead either team, the Bears or the Colts, to a Super Bowl? And let me just mention it in case you guys don't mention it. So the head coach for the Colts is Frank Reich, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Mhm.
He was the offensive coordinator with the Eagles back in 2016 and 2017. He's the head coach for the Colts, and then for the Bears have on their staff. His name is John DeFilippo, I believe is how you pronounce it. And he was the quarterback coach in 2016 and 2017 with Wentz. So Wentz has some familiar faces on both teams, and both teams have people that have worked with him in his best years. So do you think that Carson Wentz could win a Super Bowl, or at least take a team to a Super Bowl with like either of
I
those
think
teams?
I think it's going to take some time, but the only team I see him doing that with is Indianapolis. I see nothing with Chicago at all.
Okay, Nxnja, what do you think?
I can see him taking the Colts pretty easily if he doesn't get injured. Obviously,
Yeah.
I think the Colts would be pretty easy Super Bowl contenders if he plays the way he's played before. I don't see him having a chance with the Bears taking them to a Super Bowl, but the Colts defense this past year was outstanding.
hmm
I think it's just that they had an old quarterback with Philip Rivers back there. If I think Carson Wentz could get them to the NFC or AFC
AFC.
championship game this year or
And
this
it's
coming year if
not
they
a
get
very
traded.
strong division either.
Yeah,
It's not a very strong division.
At all.
So, but do you think that Wentz can win a Super Bowl with the Colts, though?
Yes.
oh for sure.
Okay. I agree. I think it's possible. They would have to go through Kansas City, which would be a little tough, but and the Bills. Can't forget about that. But it would definitely be difficult.
I feel like if Carson Wentz was on that team, they would have easily beat the Bills.
I disagree. I
Mm.
disagree. But that's a talk for another day. Right now, we're gonna go to
Well,
our
Kansas.
other.
Talk
No,
for
we're
another
talking
day.
about another day,
Talk
another
for
day,
another
another
day.
day.
Talk for
We
another
gotta talk about the
day.
trade that has already happened. And we're gonna talk to our other specialist, Chaya. It's a low budget production, folks. Chaya, tell me, talk to me about the Stafford and Goff trade. What are your thoughts on it? How it went down? What do you think?
I gotcha. So two big things that come out of that trade for Jared Goff that coming to the Lions is how much the Rams gave up. Wait, was it the Rams that gave up everything?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
Rams gave
Yeah,
up a first round
first
pick
First,
round
in
pick
2022,
to
a first round
2020,
pick in 2023, and a
2023. Yeah,
third round pick this year. All of that and Goff for Stafford.
just Stafford. That to me, that I couldn't believe that went through.
Can you say
That
win now?
yeah, the Rams are looking to win right now. They have maybe 2 years, or else that whole front office is gone.
Yeah, no, no, no,
Because
no.
they
Actually, they have exactly 2 years. Stafford only has 2 years left on his deal. So
there you go, 2 years, only 2 years, and that's it. So they either have to like get to the Super Bowl twice to maybe save everybody's jobs, or they have to win at least a one. And if they don't either win one or go to two Super Bowls in a row, the the Rams front office, I can't see them staying intact for like the following season after those 2 seasons have passed. But for the Lions, I see this as a better I see it as better for them,
long
because
term.
yeah, for the long term for sure. They get Jared Goff on a pretty big contract
four
for a
years.
long, yeah, for a few years. They get to build around him with. They have one pick this year only, but they have 4 picks in the next 2 years in the first round.
Yeah.
So having
Weapons,
four,
weapons,
yeah,
weapons.
having 4 first round picks, they can upgrade their O line this year and try to do that. Their defense needs a little help. It doesn't need too much, so they could use a next year first round draft pick on defense,
Hmm.
and then have to go for a offensive player, because they only have Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay, and T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, it's not the most dynamic group.
Yeah, and they're what's been a problem for them for most of these years is their run game. They haven't had a very strong rusher.
Well,
They
let me get
had
into that really quick. Let me just bring
right.
up some stats real quick with that. So the Lions had the 20th best offense this past season. The Rams had the 22nd best offense. Not too big of a difference. However, when you go into rushing, the Lions had the 30th best rushing offense. They produced just under 1,500 rushing yards. And the Rams had the 10th best rushing offense, producing just over 2,000 rushing yards. So definitely the Rams now having Stafford come in to help with their air attack is going to help a lot because they already have a decent run game. But the Lions, I don't know how that's going to fare because they don't have a rushing game, and now you're bringing Jared Goff, who didn't do that great over there in LA. So I don't know how much Goff is going to help over there. He's really going to have to prove himself, I think.
Oh, for sure. He's
Yeah.
definitely going to have to prove that he's more of an elite quarterback than he's shown. His best 2 years were the year he made the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
in 2019 and 2018. In 20 his actual better season was the 2018 season, and he had 32 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's his best. And in Stafford's best comparatively, this was Stafford in 2011, so a while 10 years ago, 10 years ago now. Stafford was threw for 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions.
You know, a lot of people say that Matthew Stafford is probably the most underrated quarterback in the league, and I would agree with them. The guy's been producing. He's had great results, great individual success, but it's just fallen under the radar. It's thrown under the rug because
On Detroit.
he's in Detroit, and Detroit is always consistently at the bottom of their division, which is a tough division with the Vikings and the Packers, and the Bears aren't really that tough, but they're better than the Lions. But it's still a pretty difficult division to get out of. So I kind of feel like Jared Goff is just a temporary guy there.
Mhm.
Stafford is. I don't. Do you guys think that Stafford's going to re-sign after those 2 years? He's going to be about 35, I think. 35,
I
36.
think he'll resign. Look at
Yeah, it depends.
Fitzpatrick.
If he doesn't get hurt in the next 2 years, like if he doesn't have some injury that we don't know of, like he's had these past 2 seasons, if he's successful, yeah. But if he's not, I can't see him signing with
This is like a new
like the
beginning for
Rams.
him.
For sure. This is 100% new
So,
chapter. This is the
I mean,
best chance he's ever had at
yeah.
making the friggin' playoffs to begin with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I'm sure he's stoked about it. But then Goff, on the other end, he has a 4-year contract. He's going into a really bad situation. However, it's a bad situation at the moment
Yeah.
because they have a lot of young players that could develop. They have a lot of picks. It's a new front offense, new front office that seems like they actually have a direction. With Dan Campbell, as he said, they're just going to go on and bite kneecaps. So they have a plan. They
Oh
know
yeah.
what they're doing. They have a culture at least, which is really good. That's something that Detroit has lacked for a very, very long time. I don't know if Goff fits in with that culture. He really has that LA vibe, very
Laid
laid back.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know if he's gonna fit in there. He's there for 4 years. Do you think they keep him all 4 years, or you think maybe not this year, but next year, the year after, they look for a quarterback, another quarterback to have?
No, I think
He
they're gonna keep him
stays. Yeah.
solidly for the next 4 years, just because of how young he is. I
He's
feel
he's
like it's a better
26.
option.
Yeah,
It's a better option for them, considering that how long quarterbacks last in the NFL. If they're at least decent, if they're not
Mhm.
already starting to become backups, usually they can last into their mid 30s. So I can him getting 230 and being on the Lions wouldn't be that bad. I don't see how I don't see how the Lions would try to draft a quarterback when this for a quarterback he's still young. So
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think I think that's the good side of it too, where they're gonna be quote unquote building around Jared Goff. And the reality is, if Jared Goff doesn't play well and he's not the fit, they could get rid of him. They bring in another quarterback, and that quarterback is going to be able to use all the toys that they got for Jared Goff that maybe he wasn't able to use properly, but maybe this guy can. One more quick question about the Stafford and Goff trade. Um, do you think though that Stafford could lead the Rams to a Super Bowl? Because it's a tough division to begin with the Seahawks, the
oh
Cardinals, and the 49ers. That's a
yeah.
tough division. And the NFC is amazing. The Saints are still going to be good, even though they're not going to have Breeze. They should at least be decent. You have the Packers. You have the Vikings could be decent. They're a very whatever team when whatever they feel like being. And then you have the Buccaneers that are coming back. What do you think? Do you think Stafford can lead the Rams to an actual Super Bowl in these next 2 years?
Yeah, I definitely think he can. The question is again, if he gets hurt, which these at least these past 2 seasons has been a problem. Um, I can see it working out for him with a good old with the Rams O line, which I think is pretty good. I think with Cooper Cup and Robert Woods, he can make a playoff run. I agree that his division is really difficult with a 49ers defense that is probably going to be healthy next year. That's scary. The Seahawks, I'm not as scared of, not gonna lie.
At all.
I don't see them as big of a threat as they've been in the past. And then the Cardinals are an up and coming team, but I think their defense is weak enough for the Rams to still be better than them. So I think if we're gonna talk their division, the Rams and the oh my goodness, why am I blanking again?
Seahawks,
The
Cardinals,
Rams,
49ers. Which one is it?
49ers. I think 49er it would be 49ers Rams. It would be them fighting for the division.
I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Niners just because like they had Nick Bosa who was out basically the whole
Yeah.
season. They had Jimmy G who was basically out the whole season. So people forget that they were in a Super Bowl just a couple years ago with that
Yeah.
same group. So it's going to be really interesting to see how those two produce. It's going to be really interesting to see how Carson Wentz and whoever he gets matched up with in a trade, see how that works out. Yeah, so just to kind of mention some other quarterbacks that could possibly be moved during this offseason, we might talk about them later on, is Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson has had some rumors going on, and probably not going to happen, but there's been rumors. And then Deshaun Watson is in purgatory with the Texans. See what happens with them. They say no. Watson says yes. We'll
Stay in
see which
Houston.
heart wins.
Stay in Houston. We don't want you in Florida. We don't.
Okay, well that's you.
Nope. It's like 75% of our fan base.
All right. Well, we're done talking for this episode.
I mean,
Thank you, Steven, for being our expert today. Tribe, thank you for being our other expert today. Appreciate both of you guys doing some homework for this video. Thank you all of you out there that are watching for watching the video. Like and subscribe if you like this type of content. This is weekly videos like this. We have documentaries on the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. I'm gonna put that in the description. And thank you guys for watching once again. Have a great day. Bye.